What's up guys, Retro Gaming Guy here. So today in this video I'm going to show you guys how you can get into retro video game emulation on a budget, and that is rare these days. We're seeing prices spike and be just all over the map, but currently there's too many PC options out there that you can use to actually get a game console up and running for retro video game emulation. So if you're into classic arcade, Atari, Genesis, Master System, NES, Super Nintendo, N64, Sega Saturn, Dreamcast, GameCube, Nintendo Wii, Nintendo DS, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, PlayStation, PlayStation 2, and even Nintendo Switch, this is the video for you to watch because I can get you into all of those, emulating everything effectively for $100 plus tax. So currently on Amazon, there's two options that you should take notice of and take advantage of, honestly, if you're trying to get into retro video game emulation, because I did a video a couple months back on this, and I did a video even before that, even going back over a year, and every time I do a video, these prices seem to spike. You know, with the more people that start taking advantage of this, supply and demand comes into play, and Amazon starts creeping that price back up. Last time, we saw prices get up about to a 50% increase at one point. So take advantage of it now if you're looking to get into retro video game emulation, and I'll walk you guys through the entire process in this video. It sounds like a lot, it sounds very complicated. I will simplify it for you guys, show you exactly what you need to do and how you can take advantage of all this. So first, let's go over to Amazon. I'll show you guys the two models that you want to take notice of. They're both HP Elite Desk mini PCs. They're not brand new. They're going to be, you know, kind of repurposed and refurbished, but they have amazing performance, and I'll show you guys exactly what you can get into. So let's jump over to Amazon. First and foremost, I'll show you guys around those, and then I'll show you guys how you can actually take those units from Amazon and convert them into retro game consoles. Let's dive into it. All right, guys, so here we are on Amazon, and I just typed in HP Elite Desk up here in the search bar. These are the results that will yield as soon as you type in that search, but you guys don't even have to do that. I'll provide you guys with direct links to the two options here that you should be taking a look at. We have first and foremost the HP Elite Desk 800 G2 desktop mini business PC right here. This is going to use an Intel Core i5 6500T processor. It's actually the same on the next model that I'm going to show you as well. So this is it right here, $100. So when I did my original video on this, it started out at, I think, $100 as well, and then it quickly creeped up to about $145 for the exact same unit here. So the point of this video today is to obviously highlight the fact that it is back down to a rock bottom price of $100, and that's an insane deal on something like this. You have your USB 3 ports right in front, you have a Type-C in front, you have your audio connections backside of this mini PC. Let's see if we have, there we go. Look at all the port options back here. Now, this is something that I want to point out here. We have two display ports on here, and we also have a VGA. We do not have an HDMI, and it's going to be the same for the next model that I'm going to show you guys as well. So all you have to do is you have to get a DisplayPort to HDMI cable, and you can get this connected to any PC monitor or TV that you want to connect it to. It's that simple. The DisplayPort to HDMI will bring your audio and video together right through, so you don't have to worry about having a separate audio cable or anything like that. Like if you went the VGA route, you would have to do that. You'd have to have two separate connections for audio and video, but DisplayPort basically does the same thing as HDMI. So you're in good hands with this. You'll be able to connect it to whatever you want to connect it to. And look at all those USB-A ports on here, USB 3s, in fact. You will have a great experience with this because you can bring in your own ROMs via a flash drive. You can bring in an external SSD if you wanted to. But really cool thing that I want to touch on here is the fact that this has a 240 gigabyte SSD installed within. So I'm just trying to highlight that. There we go. 240 gigabytes. So that means that if you want to just use this PC for retro video game emulation, and you will have a phenomenal experience with that. You'll be able to get Switch running on here, Wii, GameCube, PS2, some Xbox. I don't recommend Xbox, honestly. It's not great. There's a few games that'll work okay, but the majority of Xbox will be, you know, a little hit or miss on here, to say the least. Everything else is going to work perfect. NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis, Master System, MAME. So you get all those classic arcade games up and running, Game Boy, all that stuff is going to work perfect on this option. The downside is you have to put together your own drive, but I'll show you guys momentarily exactly what you'll have to do and how you can repurpose the SSD within here
to set up this as a game console without any added costs. You won't have to go out and get your own separate SSD. So let me show you guys the other option here, because the other option is actually a little bit cheaper than this, and emphasis on little cheaper. It's about 50 cents cheaper at the time of this recording. So let me back out of this page here, and we have the G3 right here. So here we go. HP Elite Desk 800 G3. These are essentially pretty much the same exact thing. In fact, they have the same processor here. Both are going to be using that Intel quad-core i5 6500T processor, 8 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM on here, 256 gigabyte SSD. So you're getting a little bit more, and again, emphasis on a little bit more, capacity on here. But you can repurpose this the exact same way. And let's see. In terms of port offerings here, it honestly is a sleeker design on the G3. I like the contrast with the black and the silver, but we have the exact same port offerings here. So we have the audio connections, we have the USB-As, the Type-C there. And if we flip this over to the backside, we should get a backside picture. Oh, we may not. I believe that it offers the exact same thing on the backside here in terms of ports as the G2. So you'll have those USB-A connections. You'll have your display ports as well. So while I'm on Amazon, I'll show you guys the cable that you'll need, and I'll provide links to all of these offerings here. And again, this is $99.50. So if you go with the G3 here, which I think looks cooler, performance-wise, it's going to line up perfectly with the G2, but you're going to save a whopping 50 cents here, plus tax, of course. And this is what you'll need. You'll need a DisplayPort to HDMI cable, and I'll provide you guys again with links in the description of this video. So this is it right here, $9. You can get this one right here for $7.99. Both have great reviews on here. They're all almost 5 stars. If you want to get two, you can get two, and you can see that I've purchased these myself. This one's $7.64. So me being a cheapskate, I went that route, and I've had good luck with Amazon Basics display port cables. I have a bunch of Amazon's cables in general, and I've had a good experience. My camera actually has a Type-C cable and also a regular HDMI cable, both of which are Amazon Basics. So yeah, I've had good luck with that. So 3 links in the description of this video, but let's jump over. I want to show you guys how you can turn one of these mini PCs, and it's pretty much the same thing either way. Even though we have the G2 model and the G3 model, the process is going to be identical for both of these. So I'll show you guys exactly what you have to do in order to turn either of these into a retro video game console for retro video game emulation. We're going to take a closer look at the PC. Worth noting though, it does come with a power supply cable up here, but it does not come with a DisplayPort cable. So you will need to order one of those separately. I picked up one at the same time as this from Amazon. It cost me about $8 or so. It's a high quality one. So we're going to set that aside. We're going to need to use that. But let's take a closer look at the actual PC itself. So you can see here, HP Elite Desk. First port over here, we have our audio jack connection, followed by microphone connection. Next, we have our USB Type-C. Next to over here are USB 3 ports, which come in handy for just about anything you'd be doing on here, connecting wireless, receivers for controllers or wired controllers directly in here, a mouse, a keyboard, all that stuff. And then down here on the end is our actual power button. That's what we'll be hitting to power this on. Nothing up here at the top, nothing at the bottom. Backside, we actually have a spot where we can mount this if we wanted to. So if you wanted to use this inside of an arcade cabinet, you certainly could mount this to the inside of your cabinet, outside of your cabinet even, very easily there, you can see. And we can also even put this face down, and with those non-skid strips, it grips really nicely. So let's take a look at the back side here, where we have some additional ports. We have 2 display ports here, and that is how I would recommend connecting this to your TV or monitor, because those basically work the same as an HDMI cable connection. Over here we have VGA, so you certainly could use VGA. However, that is not going to transmit your audio. It's only going to transmit over your video. So next over here, we have 4 additional USB 3 ports on here. So 4 in the back, 2 in the front, 6 in total. Ethernet connection over here, and then over here is where we're going to plug in our power supply cable. So that is pretty much everything that this has to offer externally on here. Also worth mentioning though, in the front we have built-in speakers. Not that I think anybody necessarily wants to utilize the built-in speakers here, but it certainly does come in handy. I think the best way to go, obviously, is using a DisplayPort cable. And then you can, get your audio through there as well as video. Use your speakers on your, TV or monitor. If you have a monitor that has speakers built in, that is definitely the best way to go on there. So this also does not have built-in Wi-Fi, but it does come with this USB Wi-Fi dongle here. So we can plug that into one of the 6 USB ports on here, and we are now able to get Wi-Fi to this, which definitely comes in handy for scraping. When we go in and we pull all of the data for our ROMs, just, creates a much better experience on there and a nicer layout. So we'll definitely be utilizing that. Again, power supply cable there. But let's actually open this up, and I'm going to show you guys how you can utilize the SSD within here to set up your retro gaming experience. So you don't have to do this. This actually comes with Windows 10 installed on the SSD within here. But if you wanted to use this specifically for retro gaming and retro gaming only, then you can just simply remove that SSD, put Batocera directly onto that, and you're able to utilize everything that is provided here in this package for retro gaming without having to add in any additional costs other than the DisplayPort cable. So on the back side here, you notice we have this little screw here, and we don't actually have to go and connect a screwdriver to this. It's designed so we can do this with our fingers. We just simply turn it, it loosens all the way up. It will not fall all the way through or anything like that, so you don't have to worry about losing this. And then what we're going to do here is I'm going to push on the back side. I'm going to push that direction, and I'm just going to make sure that I hold the top stationary there. So I'm just sliding the bottom out like that, and now I can take this top off completely. So inside here you can see we have our cooling fan, but right down here at the bottom is our SSD. So I'm going to actually flip this around, and you're going to notice here we have this little lever, and we just simply push it down, and that's actually what locks the SSD in place. We have a wheel right here, another wheel over here, and this is just what locks everything in. So all we have to do once we pull that lever back is simply push on the SSD. We're going to push that way really gently because this is connected right over here. And now this is out of the track, fully mobile other than the connection right there. So I'm going to set this down. You want to be really careful when you do this. You're just going to pull that connection out just like so. You can see there's the connection right there. You don't want to just yank this because this connects on the other end right into the board back here. So you could do some damage there if you're, not careful. So on here, take a closer look. We have 2 wheels. Sometimes there's 4, sometimes there's 2. You really only need 2 in here to lock this in place. So that's likely what you're going to find the majority of the time. We have our SSD out here. I'm just going to set everything aside, and we're actually going to connect this now to our PC, and we're going to do so with this connection cable here. And this is from SABRENT, and you can see here, one end is a USB connection, so you can plug it into any USB port on your PC, and then this end here plugs into the SSD, just like that. Now, these will not work with regular hard drives. They're just going to work with SSDs like this. They might actually work with 2.5-inch hard drives, but I actually haven't tested that out. SSDs, though, works extremely well. I'll put a link for this as well. It's like $7, $8, $9, something like that. So I'm just going to bring this over to my PC, connect it over, and we're going to resume the process over there. All right, guys, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to jump onto our regular PC or laptop, whatever we're typically using for online tasks. We're going to jump over there. We're going to open up a web browser, and we're going to go over to batocera.org. Should look exactly like this does, at least at the time of the video. This is, what it looks like at the moment. And we're going to go over to download at the top, or if it's on the front page like it is here, it says getbatocera.linux 37. That is the current version. If you're watching this video, later on down the line, this may be version 38, 39, whatever the case may be. Just go ahead and download whatever is the latest and greatest from Batocera. So we're just going to go ahead and click that, and it's going to give us a bunch of different options. So if we're doing this on like a Steam Deck, you want to download that specific version. If we're using a Raspberry Pi, you want to download that specific version. But today, if you're following along with this video because you are using this exact HP mini PC, then what we're going to do is we're going to just download the regular PC version. So we're going to go over here to where it says desktop, laptop, NUC, and Intel-based Apple computers. We're going to go ahead and either click on that or just click download at the top. It's going to do its thing over here. You can see in parentheses it says 3. I've downloaded this multiple times in the past, so you can let it do its thing here. It's a pretty quick download. I'm going to skip ahead, so let it do its thing and then proceed with the next step once it's fully downloaded. All right, so assuming that fully downloaded for you, what we're going to do is you're going to want to get Balena Etcher right here. So you can go over to your web browser, type in Balena Etcher, go to Google, Balena Etcher, very simple download for Windows or whatever you want to use it with. And once you download it, it's going to look like this. It'll put an icon here right on your desktop. So we're going to double click and open that up. And right here at the top, it says flash from file. We're going to go ahead and click that, and we're going to locate Batocera. So here is Batocera version 37, which we just downloaded. We're going to click on open. So make sure this is the image file. You don't want to zip this, unzip it, do anything there. You want it exactly as it downloaded, direct from Batocera's website. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and connect our SSD to our PC via that USB connection. So I've already connected mine, so it should populate in here when I click on select target. If you find that it does not populate in here correctly, or it doesn't look like you see right here, you may have to unplug it, reconnect it. Sometimes try a different USB port on your PC. It should populate in just like this. So you can see I can just go ahead over here and check it. And just to confirm, make sure that it's the same size. Make sure if you have multiple things connected. If I had like a USB flash drive connected, that would populate in here. Just obviously make sure you're connecting to the exact drive that you want to flash Batocera to. So everything looks good here. I'm going to go ahead and hit select. And now we're going to hit flash. And it's going to give us some warnings. It's going to say you're about to erase an unusually large drive. It just wants to confirm that you're aware of that and that you want to proceed. So I'm going to go ahead and hit yes, I'm sure. And it's going to do its thing here. It's going to say, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? Go ahead and select yes. And now this entire process here, you can see up here at the top, at least this version of Batocera, 8 gigabytes. So really a quick process here. So we're going to let it do its thing. It's going to flash here. It's already halfway done. ETA is 7 seconds. That's just for the flashing process. It's going to go through a couple different processes. So next process here is validating. This looked to be about 25 seconds or so. So we'll let it do its thing. And we should get a confirmation that everything, was flashed correctly. And that's exactly what it's doing here by validating. All right, you can see here it says flash completed. So we're going to go ahead and just X out of this. And now we have Batocera loaded up onto our SSD. So we can go ahead and disconnect it from this PC, jump over to our HP Elite desk and proceed over there. All right, guys, so just unplug this from the USB connection from the PC. So we've got the SSD ready to get installed. We're going to go ahead and grab our wheels. Now, make sure that your connection here is on the right-hand side. Go ahead and put one of these wheels up here in the top corner, another one down here in the bottom right, and those are going to line up with, on here, one should line up with where our lever is. So I'm just going to tighten those up with the screwdriver. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to make our connection here. It's a little bit hard to see with my hand, but just like the USB connection that we made to our computer from the SSD, we're going to do the exact same thing there. Just kind of feel for it. Don't get overly aggressive. Pushes right into place. And now you're going to just line up those wheels with these slots here and pull back that lever. You should sit right into the tracks. Line up the wheels perfectly and then just slide them in. As you slide it forward, that lever will just click back into place, and you can see here everything is fully locked in. So all we have to do now is put our cover back on. Just be careful with it, but you'll see there's a little tab right here that's going to line up and slide right through the back of the frame here. All we have to do at this point is just tighten up our screw in the back. Now everything is installed within here, but this is just going to be our Batocera SSD on here. There's no games on here yet. There's no BIOS files on here yet. There's no data for any games, obviously, because we don't have games except for what is included stock on Batocera. So we're going to go ahead and make our connections to our PC, and we're going to actually boot this up. So first things first, make your power supply connections. Obviously, one end goes into the power outlet. The other end is going to go directly into the PC. Right there. We're going to grab our DisplayPort cable. So DisplayPort goes into the back, and I like to go into that middle one there. Clicks right into place. And I should have mentioned this before because I just said DisplayPort, but this is a DisplayPort to HDMI. And the reason I get that rather than just straight DisplayPort is because then I can plug this into a PC monitor or into a regular TV. And I'm going to be going directly into my TV today. Well, I'll be going through my capture card and then into my TV so you guys can see how everything boots up on here. So we're going to go ahead and make that connection. Go ahead and plug in your Wi-Fi dongle here. And you can plug it into the back or the front. Doesn't make any difference. So I'm just going to power this on, and we'll continue on with everything within Batocera. All right, so here we are inside of Batocera version 37 on our SSD, installed within our HP EliteDesk mini PC. And what we're going to do now is we are going to connect our keyboard as well as our mouse. We'll now be able to navigate through everything, and all these collections are stock. Everything that you see here is as it comes on Batocera version 37 at least. So once you have your keyboard connected and your mouse connected to your PC, you're going to hit your space bar on your keyboard. That opens up your main menu. From here, we're going to navigate down to network settings. We're going to hit enter on our keyboard to open that up. And you're going to see here that nothing is connected. So we have no IP address. We have no internet status. We need to go down to where it says enable Wi-Fi. Make sure that your Wi-Fi dongle is plugged into your PC again. You're going to go down to enable Wi-Fi and just hit enter. That is going to enable your Wi-Fi. Next thing after this, we're going to establish connection to our Wi-Fi network. So it takes a minute. Once it gives you that, sort of little toggle icon filled in, you're going to have Wi-Fi SSD and Wi-Fi key listed on here, and they're going to be blank. Now, I've blocked mine out because I already have mine connected to my Wi-Fi, but you're going to go to Wi-Fi SSD. You're going to hit enter. You're going to get a list of all your different Wi-Fi connections that you can connect to. Go ahead and connect to yours. Once you do that, you're going to go down to Wi-Fi key, and you're going to simply type in your password. And bring you back out here to network settings, and you're going to now just go down to back, hit enter. It's going to bring you back here to your main menu. And if you go back into network settings now, you should see under internet status, it should say connected. Now up here for your IP address, it should be filled in. You're going to now write down this IP address because you're going to need this momentarily from your other PC. So I'm going to write down mine. And I blocked mine out here, same as I blocked out my Wi-Fi SSID and key, just to keep everything private. Not that it's a huge deal to have that IP address out there, but just going to keep everything to myself here in this video. But yours is going to now populate on this list as long as you've been able to establish Wi-Fi connection. So now what we're going to do is we're going to jump over to our other PC, leave your HP EliteDesk turned on, leave it right where it is, or you can even just back out. You can hit escape, back out to your main page here, but leave it turned on, leave it connected to Wi-Fi, and jump over to your other PC. We'll resume over there. So now here we are back on our regular PC, and you're going to go to your web browser and you're going to go to archive.org. You're going to go to the search bar here and you're going to search for Batocera BIOS files. So if you're using Batocera 37, type in Batocera 37 BIOS files. If you're using a later version, type in Batocera 38, 39, whatever version BIOS files you're looking for the version that you downloaded to your SSD. Locate those, download those, and they may come zipped, they may come just regular, a regular folder. Usually they're going to be zipped though. If they're zipped, use something like 7-zip to extract them. So I'm going to show you guys how mine came. I have them saved here on my desktop. So here I have my BIOS version 37 full pack, and you can see this was zipped. So I just simply right clicked on here. I went down to show more options, and I hovered over 7-zip, and I clicked on extract files. It extracted those. Once you have them extracted, you'll be able to go in, you'll be able to locate your BIOS folder. I actually pulled it out separate just so I don't have it within the other folder over here. We can double click on that, see what it looks like. You have all these BIOS files and folders inside of here. Exactly as it is here is how you want to leave it. So I have it just pulled out for convenience over here on my desktop. So next thing we're going to do, we're going to go down here on your bottom bar. We're going to click on File Explorer. So now here it's going to default to home up here. Click and just backspace. So now we're going to do // and we're going to type in our IP address exactly as we copied it down from Batocera. So go ahead and do that. And now hit enter on your keyboard. You're going to get this Windows security that pops up and it says enter network credentials. Enter your credentials to connect to, and it's going to list your IP address. So now what we're going to do for a username, we're going to type in root, R-O-O-T. For a password, we're going to type in Linux, L-I-N-U-X. And now we're going to go ahead and we can hit remember my credentials if you want to, if you don't want to have to type this in later on when you come back in here. And then we're going to click OK. That is going to connect over now to your HP Elite Desk. As long as you still have your Wi-Fi connection established and everything's connected properly over there, you're going to now be able to go into your share folder here. So we're going to double click on share folder. And now we have full access to all of our files on our HP Elite Desk. So what we need to do is we need to update our BIOS folder here. So if we double click on folder, again, we are now accessing everything on our HP Elite Desk. So we're going to let this load in. We're going to see that inside here for BIOS, we don't have a whole hell of a lot. So we're going to go over and locate our BIOS folder that we just downloaded here to this PC. So if we go over here to desktop for me. So now if we go in here to desktop, we're going to open up our BIOS folder here. Now, this again is the one we just downloaded. So we're going to make sure that we highlight everything on here. So you can hit Control A on your keyboard. That's going to highlight all of our different files and folders in here. Now we're going to, you can hit Control C to copy everything, or you can right click, go down to show more options, copy it right in here, do that as well. Now we're going to go back up here to home, click up here at the top bar, backspace that out, // type in your IP address again, hit enter, and we're going to go into our share folder. We're going to go into our BIOS folder, and now down here in an open area, just right click, show more options, and click paste. You're now pasting in all of those BIOS folders for Batocera version 37. So you're going to have full access now to everything on your HP Elite Desk, and you're adding all those new files and folders in. So this might take a few minutes. Let it do its thing. We'll come back here once this is 100% complete. All right, so you can see that our process is just completing here. We're at 99%, 100%, and there we go. So all of those BIOS files now and folders should be added into our SSD within our HP Elite Desk PC. Now I'm going to show you guys real quick before we jump back over to the Elite Desk how we can go back in and now add in our game ROMs. So we're going to go in here, back up to the top where it says home. We're going to do our // enter in our IP address once again. I'm going to hit enter. We'll go into share now. And we can, while we're in here, just double check the BIOS folders. And you can see all of those are now found within. So we can hit back. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into our ROMs folder down here. And you're going to see all of these collections. So you can go in here and see that we have FB Neo, we have our GameCube, Game Gear, etc., Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and so on. So if we wanted to add like an Xbox game, for example, we go down here, we locate Xbox. Here's Xbox, we double click, and in here we can simply paste in whatever Xbox ROMs we want to add. So if we had, actually I think that I have, so I actually have on my desktop here, Halo 2. So I can go in here. We're already inside of our Xbox ROM collection. So I'm going to go over here and just copy this. So go over to copy, and now we'll go back over here and we can simply paste that in. So we're just going to show more options, paste. Halo 2 gets added directly into our Xbox ROMs collection. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to simply X out of this. I'm going to shut down this computer altogether, and we're going to jump now over to the Elite Desk. All right, here we are on our HP Elite Desk PC. So we just added in our BIOS files, as well as we added in that Xbox title, Halo 2. So if we go through our collections, we should locate Xbox. There it is. And if we jump in here, there we go. We've got our Halo 2 ROM ready to go inside of our Xbox collection. So we can back out by hitting escape on our keyboard. And now we also have all of our BIOS files added in as well, which we did just like we did the Halo 2 title here through our network connection from our regular PC. So if you want to access your files from inside your HP Elite Desk here inside Batocera, all you're going to need to do is hit F1 on your keyboard. That is going to open it up just like this, and we have access to all of the same stuff that we were able to remotely access through our network connection from our other PC. So if we go over to ROMs, we can go over and double check our Xbox collection. So we'll go down here to X. Where are you? There we go. Double click on Xbox, and there is our Halo 2 ROM that we added in. We can go over here on the left column to BIOS, and all of our files that we added in through network connection are in here as well. So if you wanted to add in the same way that we added in Halo 2 for Xbox, other titles for any of these collections here in our ROMs folder, you can do it the exact same way. So if you have N64 games you want to add in, you just simply on your PC through network connection while your HP Elite Desk is booted up and connected to Wi-Fi, you add in all of your games here. You can add in more than one at a time. You could add in hundreds or even thousands of games at the same time if you want to. Just simply paste them in here, drag and drop them in here, let them upload, and everything will be found in here in the end. So to close this out, File, Close Window, brings you right back out here to Batocera again. Now, I didn't show you guys how to scrape anything in this process here. Scraping is when you add all of the data. So if we jump in here, you see how boring this looks. Nothing exciting going on here. If you want to add video previews, logos, box art, descriptions, ratings, all that stuff that creates a well-polished layout, I have a video that walks you through the entire process of using Screen Scraper, which is an amazing tool. You'll be able to add all that stuff to create a well-polished and really professional looking setup on here. So take advantage of that video. It's found in the description. But that is the entire process here. And in the end, we end up with a really affordable setup that plays perfectly. Let's dive into some gameplay demos though, and see exactly how well everything plays right here on the HP Elite Desk.
hopefully this outlines the process for you guys effectively so you know exactly what you need to do with either of these options here. Whether you go with the G2 or the G3, either HP Elite Desk model is going to give you the same performance more or less. And you can see we're able to get into some really advanced games on here and have an absolute blast with these PCs at, again, a low price point of either $99.50 or $100. So both pretty much at the exact same price point in the end. Prices do fluctuate though, so hopefully they don't go up too high, but I said this before, I'll say it again. I believe that the value on here, if you're converting this into a game console, is far beyond $100. If this was, $150, $200, I still think that it's worth it, honestly, because of the performance that you get, the reliability that you get. I mean, this is an HP product. Yes, it's a little bit older. It's not brand new right out of the box, but it's still an HP product. They are reliable. They are top quality, and I've actually set these up probably 10 times at this point for a couple different people. I have a couple in my house as well in different rooms. At that price point, man, I mean, it's a no-brainer to get into, retro video game emulation like this. And you don't have to have a massive collection of games. I think a lot of people stress out about the fact that we see a lot of these plug-and-play setups out there like Kinhang puts together with tens of thousands of games on there. You don't need all that. You can start off really basic. You can put Mario Kart 64 on here and have a blast. You can put Donkey Kong Country on here and have a blast. Back in the day, we had consoles that, we had a couple games for. So now we're kind of spoiled and we look at emulation as these massive libraries and setups with tens of thousands of games on there. Remember, you don't have to do that. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You can start putting together, a couple ROMs at a time on here. Do this gradually. If you overwhelm yourself and you say, all right, I got to add, 10,000 games to this to make it really cool, you're going to drive yourself nuts. So just, take your time with it, enjoy yourself, play the games rather than just touring through what is offered on here. I do a lot of review videos like that here on the channel where I'm touring through what is offered on these things. And I always say this, it's cool to have access to tens of thousands of games, of course, but you don't need that at the end of the day. And very few of us actually play all of those games anyway. So just put on here what you're going to actually enjoy and actually enjoy it. Have a good time with it. Let me know what you guys think of this video. Let me know if this was a good way to get you into retro video game emulation. My intention with this video is to help people that are coming into this on sort of an entry level and they want to understand how they can get started, because this is complicated and there are a lot of moving parts to getting into emulation, but hopefully this makes it easier for some of you guys. So let me know what you guys think of the video. You guys know the deal. If you enjoyed the content today, please give me a thumbs up right here on this video. It's a huge help to me here on YouTube, and hit subscribe to stay in the loop for all future videos. And if you're a wrestling fan, please jump over and give me a subscribe over on my new YouTube channel with Marcus Buff Bagwell, former WCW wrestler. We've got some amazing content coming out over there as well. Thank you guys so much for your time. Thanks for the support. I'll see you on the next video.